Dance, a fusion of classical ballet, raw physicality, and high-octane performance, playing February 14th and 15th. More at nyuskirball.org. Shepard Mullen, serving clients in Manhattan for over 20 years. With more than 1,100 lawyers globally, Shepard Mullen helps companies address today's legal, real estate, business, and regulatory challenges. More at shepardmullen.com.
WNYC is partnering with The Moth to help celebrate our 100th anniversary with an unforgettable evening of stories. I'm Allison Stewart, inviting you to join me for Only in New York at the NYU Skirball Center. Celebrate the city and a century of broadcasting with a diverse group of storytellers who share tales about all 5 boroughs. March 14th at 7:30. Tickets at wnyc.org/events.
Good Monday morning, and thanks for listening to WNYC. Marketplace Morning Report is next, and still ahead on Morning Edition. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrives in Washington today for talks with President Trump. Negotiations on the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire are supposedly due to begin. That's ahead in 15 minutes on Morning Edition from NPR and WNYC. Stick around. And you've got cloudy skies to start the day. It's 32 degrees. Those clouds will stick around throughout your Monday. Expect highs in the mid-40s, and tonight steady temps around 43 degrees. Your Tuesday will be much like today, but mostly sunny with highs around 40 degrees. And cloudy skies return Wednesday with highs in the mid-30s. It's 6:51. Good morning.
We're watching financial markets digest the promised tariffs that will begin within hours.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Glassdoor. See who's hiring, what they're paying, and join conversations with professionals in the new Glassdoor community. Now with expert tips for career success from best-selling work-life author Adam Grant. All on the Glassdoor app. And by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. President Trump is set to have calls today with the leaders of Mexico and Canada after the administration imposed new tariffs on imports from America's 2 largest trading partners, 10% on Canadian energy imports, 25% on everything else from both countries. Also, under the Economic Emergency Declaration, moving China tariffs up by another 10%. If this is a negotiating tactic, as some have suggested, there isn't much time. The import taxes kick in just over 17 hours from now, midnight Eastern. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more.
The tariffs President Trump announced affect a far bigger chunk of the U.S. economy than the ones he imposed during his first term.
It was larger and more forceful than we were expecting in our baseline forecast.
Kathy Bostjancic is chief economist at Nationwide Financial.
So depending if they actually do get enacted, and you see Canada and Mexico retaliate as they've indicated they would, that could shave about 2 full percentage points off of GDP growth.
That means the economy could see almost no growth this year and could potentially even dip into recession, including job losses. Inflation could increase perhaps about 0.6 of a percentage point, and in some areas prices would rise far more than in others.
For instance, for auto prices, we could see a jump of 10%.
Grocery prices could rise, so could prices at the pump. A rise in lumber prices could increase the cost of building homes. Smartphones and other electronics made in China could become more expensive. In general, analysts say the new tariffs are likely to cost American households about $1,000 to $1,200 a year. The president's order also removes an exemption which allowed packages worth less than $800 to come into the country tax-free. That means those purchases from Temu and Shein and other low-cost Chinese retailers will face import taxes for the first time. I'm Nofisafo for Marketplace.
Let's check to see how this is playing out in financial markets. Stock index futures I see are down sharply but not crashing. The widely held S&P 500 index is down 1.4%. The Nasdaq is down 1.6%. The Dow is down 1.3%, implying a drop of something between 5 and 600 points at the open, but that's not for another 2.5 hours or so. The VIX index of stock market volatility is up 20%. London is down 1.2%. The key index in Germany is down 1.7% now. With higher tariffs, stock in German car companies are down 6% for VW, 3.8% BMW, 4% for Mercedes. The bond market is up, with treasuries seen as a safe haven during a turbulent time. The 10-year interest rate down at 4.54%. The dollar is up 1.1% to the euro, in part on the assumption that higher import taxes will bolster inflation. It's up 2% to the Mexican peso, and it costs 1.47 Canadian dollars to buy $1 US now, the lowest for the Canadian loonie in 22 years. And the price of gold is up 2.4% in just a week, although pretty steady this morning. Marketplace's Mitchell Hartman has more.
London and New York are hubs of the global gold trade. Jacob Kierkegaard at the Peterson Institute for International Economics says New York has the futures market, while
most of the physical gold is still stored with the Bank of England.
The Financial Times reports so much gold has been shipped to New York recently, there's a shortage in London. Kierkegaard explains U.S. tariffs on imported metals could be coming soon. If you're a company that wants to hold gold as a safe haven or needs it for industrial uses,
you have an incentive to move it inside the United States rather than in a vault in London.
This geographic shift doesn't explain why the price of gold is up. High U.S. interest rates and a strong dollar usually depress gold, says Rob Hayworth at U.S. Bank. But
think about tariffs and sanctions and other restrictions on global trade. We could continue to see global central banks diversify their reserve holdings into gold,
which could push the price of gold even higher. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Rubrik. When cyber attacks come for the cloud and threaten business operations, Rubrik gives you the power to bounce back fast. More at Rubrik.com. And by Progressive Insurance. The Name Your Price tool provides a range of coverage options. Progressive.com. Price and coverage match limited by state law. And by Clear Channel Outdoor, an out-of-home billboard company that offers data-driven advertising solutions for businesses big and small. Billboardsforbusiness.com.
The advisory group on government efficiency, headed by Tesla and SpaceX tycoon Elon Musk, reportedly now has access to the financial plumbing of the U.S. Department of Treasury, its payments system. I'm joined by Marketplace's senior Washington correspondent Kimberly Adams. Morning, Kimberly.
Good morning, David.
Tell me more about this payments system here.
It's called the Bureau of Fiscal Service, and like you mentioned, it's part of the Treasury Department. It's sort of like accounts payable for the federal government, and it handles almost $6 trillion in payments for things like Social Security, tax refunds, federal grants payments, even payments to some contractors. So almost 90% of federal checks going out the door move through this system, so it affects millions of Americans and American businesses.
And the New York Times and Politico are now reporting that government efficiency panel, the one advising the administration, the one that Musk helms, they now have access to this system, reportedly. This appears to be what prompted the resignation of a Treasury Department official who had been running that part of the Treasury. Why is this system such a priority for these government cost cutters?
Elon Musk claimed on X that Treasury officials were regularly approving fraudulent or illegal payments, although he didn't really provide any evidence for this, and there is a system in place to prevent that from happening. It's part of this broader effort to sort of rein in government spending in general.
All right. And what's been some of the response to this access so far?
Lots of outcry, including Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ron Wyden, who are both ranking members on 2 Senate financial committees. They've sent letters to Treasury demanding more information about what's going on, calling these moves concerning and dangerous, as well as a risk to national security, because this system contains a ton of data.
From American Public Media.
WNYC supports